I believe that going into the future, the waste industry will split into two types of waste companies. There'll be waste companies that collect waste, and because they own a landfill, they pick up waste and dump it in their landfill. And then there will be waste companies that don't own a landfill, of which we are one, and our operation will become focused on picking up as much as possible and tipping out as little as possible in somebody else's landfill. To be able to achieve that aim, we have to be able to process our own waste stream so that we can divert as much as possible away from our competitors' landfills. This suits two purposes. It makes our operation independent of the landfill operators, and it also has the effect of holding the cost down, which is a good thing for the public and the commercial operators in the area.
Welcome to the Palmerston North Large Materials Recovery Facility.
Basically what happens is that the waste comes in our trucks, it's tipped off in a great big pile, we pick it up with a loader, we pre-sort the stuff on the ground a little bit, we take out the big material that we don't want to go over the sorting line. It goes up the sorting line over a large vibrating screen, which is what we call a 200mm screen. It shakes everything down through holes about the size of a piece of A4 paper. Stuff that goes through the screen goes into a separate processing line, which we're just in the process of designing, and what that will do is it'll split it up into three product lines, one of which will be the stuff that nobody wants, and that's stringy bits of material, old bits of fabric and clothing. The stuff that will constitute the second product line is all the material that can go to the Palmerston North City Council's new small materials recovery facility, which is essentially a facility that sorts material from domestic curbside. So that's all your little bits of plastic, your tin cans, your bottles, your paper, and all the same sort of stuff as everybody puts outside their household collection. And then after that, the material that drops out the bottom is which is the largest component by weight, which is really clean fill, which is stuff that can go into a clean fill dump. The large material goes up onto a manual sorting line where there's about 10 people up there, and essentially they pick stuff off the line, starting with the bigger stuff, ending up with the smaller stuff. First thing that comes off the line is what we call good wood, which is the type of stuff that can be recycled, by people that use old native timber for building. There is the stuff that is not good for that but is worthwhile as firewood. In the next bay there's what we call the unusable wood. It's still wood product, but really there's no other use for it than to just shred it into shredded wood, which the City Council in Palmerston North uses as a bulking agent or an absorption agent in their sewage treatment plant. The next thing that comes off the line is large bits of steel. So in other words, bits of corrugated iron that get up the line, bike frames, etc, etc. The next one after that is bits of green waste that go down the line, which don't get taken out in the pre-sorting process. The next one after that is small bits of steel, and then there's plastic shrink film, type of stuff that gets wrapped up used for wrapping up pallets and road transportation. And after that we take off hard plastics, and then there's big bits of concrete, rubble, stones, bricks and all the rest of it that don't go through the sorting line. And then right down the end you're sort of picking out smaller bits of plastic, bits of wood, and generally cleaning up the stuff that the first lot of guys hasn't picked up on the first sweep. We're not actually a recycling company, we're actually a waste diversion company. We divert it, someone else recycles it. What built the plant for us say that it'll process up to 25 tonnes an hour. Right at the moment we're running somewhere between 5 and 8 tonnes an hour. There's huge capacity for it to process more. If you can take 100 tonnes of rubbish and instead of just sticking the whole 100 tonnes into a landfill, you only stick 25 tonnes of it into the landfill and do something with the other 75, I guess what you're doing is 3 times better than the alternative. In the old transfer station, where we used to bring all the rubbish in, we'd sort out a bit of wood and a few big bits of steel and a bit of green waste, and the rest of it we'd stick it in a bin and haul it off to the dump. We had 2 people working down there, now we've got 15. Over the years our business has evolved from, I started out driving around in a little truck picking up boxes and bones from behind the shops, Over the 30 years we've been doing it, we've developed our own engineering operation so that we build and service and maintain our own bins and waste haulage equipment, bin trucks. We collect the waste, we process the waste, and we cart the materials away to the various destinations after we've diverted stuff from the waste stream. There's really nothing we can't do. If somebody's got either a paper rubbish tin under their desk right up to a couple of 100 cubic metres of waste from a big demolition job, we can supply a bin, pick the waste up, cart it to the processing plant and dispose of it. What's going to happen going out into the future is that the cost of putting waste in landfills is going to increase. So as the cost of road freight goes up, and it always will because of the increasing cost of fuel, the cost per tonne of dumping rubbish is going to increase. On top of that, the government is progressively going to introduce a waste levy, and that will increase the cost of putting stuff into the landfill. The waste levy will not be imposed upon material that's diverted from the materials recovery facility. So ultimately it's going to be a long-term cost-saving exercise for the community.